So let's start the video. We're recording.
Yeah.
First things I want to say, before we do introductions, because he's not going to be a part of the introductions, because he's not here, and I'm very disappointed in Ben for not doing this video with us. This is a Star Wars video, and he's not here. But hopefully he'll be able to make up with it by doing, like, all the other Star Wars videos. But yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Ian. I'm joined here with my brother, William, and I didn't introduce him like this before because, well, technically it, but my brother-in-law, Nathaniel. It feels cool to call you my brother-in-law now. But yeah, this is the third episode of movie roundtable discussion, and
we are reviewing
we
The
have
Last
to wait,
Jedi.
we gotta say it all at the
Yay.
same time. 3, 2, 1. Star Wars:
Yay.
The Last Jedi. Okay, never mind.
Star Wars. I don't know what you're saying.
Nathaniel tried, but William didn't. I was like, let's say it all at the same time. And it was like, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And then William's just like, whatever, I'm not doing that. But yeah, Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Are we doing spoilers in this video?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're spoiling everything. This is
Okay.
spoilerific.
You warned. Spoilers.
Which anyone who didn't already see Star Wars isn't going to anyway, so why are they even watching this video? Like, everyone who's going to see it
I know.
went and saw it.
Well, I work with the guy who
But-
hasn't seen it yet, but
Just
But
in
still,
case.
spoiler warning.
yeah. But yeah. I'll probably end up putting, like, spoilers in parentheses on
Alright.
the title anyway, so.
Last time you said that, you didn't, so I just wanted
I
to make
know,
sure you.
but, like,
You're a liar.
I'm,
A dirty liar.
I've grown since then, guys.
If you say
Anyway.
so.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know how to start this. Like, how are we
From the
starting?
beginning.
Yeah, but like, okay, let's
So-
just start off by saying this.
Okay.
Well, let's start off with this question, and then we'll go into it from there. Which do you prefer? The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi?
That's a tough question.
It is.
I don't think either are great movies, but The Force Awakens for me was a more enjoyable film.
I think they're great movies. The Star Wars.
I agree that both of them aren't great films. They both have a lot of problems with it. I think I had a little bit more problems with The Last Jedi than I did with Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So there's my answer.
Yeah. Only seeing it once. I've seen Force Awakens like more than 3 times, and I've seen Last Jedi once. But I'll have to probably say, in some ways, I like Force Awakens more, but in others, I like Last Jedi more. So I'm kind of like almost like even ground, because I'm kind of like 50-50. I like this one more, but I also like this one more. So I like them both equally. But there has been a lot of almost outrage between fans. There's almost been like
so much.
this.
And
Yeah, like this
is
crazy.
the thing is, I don't think a lot of people liked it for very poor reasons. Like, I think their reasoning for not liking it is they didn't get what they were expecting to get. And so they were like, well, what were they thinking? Not what you were thinking, obviously.
They had too much expectations.
Get over it.
which is interesting to say because it's like, how can you have two? That's something kind of difficult to talk about now that I'm thinking about it, because it's almost like, especially with how movies are nowadays and everything and reboots and stuff, it's almost very hard to have too much expectations for something,
Yeah.
even if you do. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So,
one of the big reasons that a lot of old Star Wars fans don't like this movie is because of Luke Skywalker.
yeah. Then, which,
This movie ruins Luke Skywalker for most people.
yeah.
We'll go into more detail
My
about
dad
that
didn't
later.
like
Yeah.
Luke in this movie. He felt like he was still really whiny like he was in the original, but he felt like it didn't fit as well because he's an old man now. Back then he was a teenager.
Yeah. I don't buy Luke Skywalker in this movie. Like, I think Mark Hamill gave a great performance, but I don't buy Luke Skywalker's character in this movie. I don't buy it.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. Like,
And I'm
I
not
think-
like most people where it has to be like, okay, well, Luke Skywalker is just perfect and like he couldn't have messed up, but the way that he messed up doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Right.
if we want to get into that part yet, but
let's just talk about Luke Skywalker. Let's get all the stuff with Luke Skywalker
Okay,
out of the way,
okay,
since
so-
we're on the topic anyway. So
here's why it doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, because you know, we get the three different points of view on the story of Luke and Kylo.
yeah, which I thought that was almost a little bit too much.
It did feel strange, but
it's like, okay, let's just show the flashback. This isn't an anime season of like 20 episodes, you know. Let's just show the entire flashback, please.
so so we learn later on that, you know, he didn't like really try to kill Kylo. He thought about it and stuff. But here's the thing, okay? This is the guy who thought that who knew that he could still turn Darth Vader back to good. Darth Vader being a guy who slaughtered children in the Jedi Temple, the baddest baddie of all baddies, and Luke Skywalker was like, there's still good in him, right? But he's gonna look into Kylo's mind and be like, oh, you're too far gone. And he's gonna think about it long enough to pull out his lightsaber and turn it on before he
Yeah.
realizes, like, I don't buy that. Because,
No.
you know, because of what happened between him and Vader. You know, Vader is the baddest baddie ever. Just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And Vader had a redeeming. He kind of like redeemed himself in the end
Right.
because of Luke Skywalker.
For Luke Skywalker to sit there and think that his nephew, mind you, is too far gone, and he thinks about, I just need to kill him right now. Like, not, maybe I should go talk to Han and Leia about this, or, you know, no, I think I should kill him. Enough to pull out his lightsaber and turn it on. That's at least, like, you know, a couple actions that came from that thought. It's not just a passing thought.
It's funny that I mentioned anime a second ago, and now I'm going to mention it again because, like, how you say his thought process, it seems like that would be like a 15-minute anime scene. But yeah, like, I think that was mostly...
Yeah, the thought process transfers to at least one episode of anime time, okay?
Yeah, but I feel like that flashback there is mostly what Mark Hamill was talking about in his interview or whatnot.
He said he doesn't agree. Yes, I believe so.
I think that no, like that's it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even mind him being kind of like secluded and going kind of crazy where like made a mistake and he's, you know, it felt like they were trying to make him like Yoda.
Yeah.
You know, out on his own and kind of losing it a bit because he's been out on his own. Because, I mean, Yoda was, you know, just funny because he was crazy and stuff. Nothing like the prequel trilogy. But Nothing like the prequel trilogy. But I just don't buy that Luke would do that.
Yeah.
It would
I was expecting more something like Kylo Ren turned on him.
Yeah.
And, like, went and just killed all the students. And then went
flashback
to the
made
dark
more
side.
sense.
He's like,
yeah, like the first flashback they showed made more sense. It was more legit, with him just confronting him, or almost saying like, "Okay, like we need to talk about your anger or whatnot," and he's almost like starting. Like the way the first flashback is portrayed is almost like he's starting to get on to the level of teaching him to stay away from the darkness.
Yeah.
You know? And I really like the shot of Kylo using the Force and having the building collapse. I mean, if it was just that, I would be completely fine with it. They didn't need the other thing. Like, that right there would have been more legit for that to happen, and then him to take out the rest of the Jedi and the Jedi Temple and stuff. And then the little flashback of him getting out of the rubble and then seeing R2 and seeing the fire, you know. That would have made much more sense for the character and the movie. But I do love Luke Skywalker's look. His hand, his beard, just the way he looks. I love old Luke, the way he looks. I love him. And I think Mark Hamill did a very good job from portraying him. And I definitely like the how he's almost kind of like you mentioned, he's out there, you know, way off in the galaxy, kind of like Yoda was. Almost kind of like how he did that. It almost makes you think, was Yoda trying to start a Jedi Temple? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Definitely, most likely not. But I mean, I just thought of that. That, you know, Dagobah would have been a cool place to have a Jedi Temple. So that was I didn't think at all before I said any of that. But yeah, it was cool. Now I want a Jedi Temple. The ninth movie should be like underground Jedi Temple in Dagobah or something. Anyway, speaking of Yoda, let's go ahead and just talk about Yoda.
Yoda's shown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see Yoda.
Yeah.
They puppet Yoda again.
Yes.
They did a good job with it.
Yeah.
I was a little confused by some things. Doesn't he hit Luke with his staff?
Yeah. I was like,
Force ghosts are physical now, like, and plus he like forces lightning down and like catches the tree on fire. So it was like he wasn't even dead. It was, you know, like I thought the Force ghost was just like, when you die you become one with the Force, you know. But Qui-Gon figured out how to keep your image and your voice while you are one with the Force, you know. So you're just the Force, but you've kept your image so that you can appear to
but
other people.
Apparently, still use the Force and hit things.
Yeah, I don't know about some of the new abilities and stuff they introduced in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
I
definitely saw it coming. Like, throughout the movie, I was thinking, okay, so Luke Skywalker is that. Any character is going to make him take action, it's going to be Yoda.
Right.
So I mean, that's what I was thinking. You know, I wasn't really caught off guard by Yoda being there, really surprised by Yoda being there. So I kind of saw it coming.
Yeah,
But that laugh after
I liked how he was like, nothing can make me train Rey, and then R2-D2's like shows the thing from the first one.
Yeah.
It's like, you just had to do that.
Yeah. It's like, I think so too.
But like, he still didn't really do anything to train her.
He
Yeah,
didn't.
no.
And if he did, they didn't show it or imply it.
Yeah. So. Mm.
Like, he was like, okay, we're gonna train, and then he's like, you were showing the like same things that Kylo did, so I'm just not gonna do it anymore. Okay.
You went straight to the darkness. You didn't even resist it. Which I
Yeah,
don't
but-
buy that either. I
Yeah,
don't buy
because like
one.
I don't buy that Kylo was the only one to do that too. Like the
Yeah.
first time doing it to go straight to the darkness. Like really, Kylo was not the first one. I'm sure a ton of people.
I
would have
don't
done
buy
it.
that Rey went straight to, drawn straight to the dark side. There's nothing in this movie that, other than the visual of her like looking at the hole, there's nothing that actually shows her being tempted by the dark side in any way. I mean,
Yeah.
you think about when they have that fight in the throne room and Kylo's like, join me, and she's just immediately like, don't do this. Not even, no temptation there at all. She's just, so I don't buy that at all. It doesn't make any sense because we're not seeing her tempted by the dark side at all. Other than
Right.
she sees a hole in the ground and it's trying to show her something.
And then she goes down into the hole to see what's down there, and then she comes out.
Didn't show me nothing.
That was a weird scene.
Showing what I wanted to see, so
That was a weird scene.
Yeah, I really didn't think they were gonna show like Rey's parents at that moment, but I was kind of hoping for it, just so people can shut up about her parents. So I'm kind
Yeah.
of sick of hearing it by this point. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't care who her parents are. I don't.
Yeah, I was
couldn't give a
actually like, I was
Crap
actually
about it.
happy when they said when Kylo was like, your parents were nobody. I was like, well, that's fine.
That makes
But at
sense.
the same time, like, until they actually show you, like, physically show you who her parents are, they can always go back and be like, Kylo lied. It was actually
Yeah.
Palpatine.
And see, I actually thought that he was lying because he talked about that her past is what holds her back. She keeps looking for a father figure. You were looking for it in Han Solo. Now you're looking for it in Luke. It's holding you back. You need to let the past die. So when he said that, like later when he was telling her, I felt like he was lying to try and get her to just give up on the past. I don't mind, I don't mind a main character coming from nothing.
No.
Like
Yeah.
A lot
the
of
thing
main characters are like
is-
that.
her parents being nobody makes The Force Awakens a worse movie than it. It wasn't a great movie, but this movie makes it worse because there's so much pointless stuff in The Force Awakens.
Right.
Now, we're hinting at stuff, raising questions, and then this one's just like, no.
And that's the problem I have with different directors.
Exactly. So, like,
So
Rian Johnson had, like, already turned in the script or whatever before The Force Awakens came out. So he didn't know all these questions and stuff that J.J. Abrams was going to raise and
I feel
build
that was a bad
anticipation
choice.
for. Yeah, like, I really don't mind that her parents are nobody, but why did The Force Awakens ask that question to begin with?
Yeah.
Yeah. and,
Because
like,
then it's no.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like if you're gonna do different directors, at least write the scripts for the movies after Force Awakens come out. Then start
Right.
writing
Should've been
Last
discuss-
Jedi, and then after Last Jedi is
Yes.
out, then start writing Episode 9.
The
You could-
script
From
should
his
have
neck.
all been written at once.
Yeah. All directors should have just come in and discussed it together to be on the same page. That way they would know what questions to ask, what to continue with.
Yeah.
Should have
And
been
everything.
writing
Just
room.
Just had like a basic outline. It was like, we're going to do this, we're going to go here, we're going to go there. This is where we'll end up at. Do
Yeah.
whatever you
Instead of
want.
having a bunch of like plot holes everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Because I feel like this movie just ignores the previous one.
Yeah.
It really feels like that. Like everything that was like brought up, built anticipation or got your curiosity going in the last one was just like, no, in this
Yeah,
one. We're
And that's
doing
one
that.
of the definitely one of the reasons why I like Force Awakens more.
Yeah.
Because I mean, everybody I mean, probably not everybody, but a lot of people wanted to see Knights of Ren in this movie,
Yes.
myself included. Everybody wanted to see Knights of Ren, but they weren't
So,
even mentioned or anything. It was like they didn't
Not
exist.
even mentioned. And the thing was, is like they released before this movie, they released all the concept art and stuff to them and everything, and we don't see them or hear about them or anything.
if they don't show up in the next one, I'm just gonna be salty.
Be like,
Yeah.
why? Where? But
What happened
Abrams
to the
is
Knights
doing
of Ren?
9, so there's that. Abrams is doing 9, so
Okay, so he might be able to fix some things, but not so much because, you know, honestly, I feel like Abrams should have just done 8 too.
all of them. Yeah, because then it at least would have stayed consistent, been all on
Yeah.
the same page.
And I don't think he would have been doing. I don't think he would have been pulling that 3 different flashback crap either in that stuff. But you know,
Um,
it's probably why it's coming back for 9 is because how Last Jedi turned out.
well,
like,
they had a different
"Ooh."
director altogether for 9.
Yeah,
Who I don't know if they fired him or they left or he left or what, but there's been a lot of directors fired by Lucasfilm lately.
yeah,
Like the directors to the Han Solo movie got fired, and then they brought in Ron Howard to finish the movie.
yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to turn out. Hopefully good. I want it to be
When that
good. It's
happens-
Han Solo,
Yeah.
but
Usually when that happens, like in the middle of filming a movie or making a movie and they fire somebody, like the screenwriter or the director or somebody, the movie actually doesn't turn out well because the vision going into it isn't there anymore. Now the new person has a different vision for it and it
Yeah.
clashes, which is what I think happened here.
Yeah. That's not if especially if you're planning to make a trilogy, you can't do that. That's a
Yeah.
very bad way of making a trilogy or a
and
saga.
so after the Lucasfilm and Disney people saw the final cut or whatever of The Last Jedi, they liked it so much they gave Rian Johnson keys to a whole new trilogy. Like Rian Johnson is doing his own trilogy. So like that will probably be better than this one because it'll all be by one person and he'll have it all. But I still am questioning Rian Johnson some after this because there's a lot of plot stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Plot holes, literal holes,
like,
black holes.
The whole plot of this movie doesn't make any sense.
What did you guys think of the new character that they introduced, Rose?
That's something we need to talk about. Okay, so let's go into Rose and Finn, I guess. We'll talk about Finn because those two were pretty much in every scene together. And then that whole side plot that they did on that gambling planet.
But my main question is, like, what did you feel about her character? Because I've seen a lot of stuff on social media recently that was like, who's your least favorite character in Star Wars? Jar Jar Binks. Okay, we'll make someone who's worse. And I'm like, I didn't really think she was that annoying. I didn't find her that bad.
No.
I found her useless and I didn't really see a point to her at all. But I didn't think that she was more annoying than Jar Jar Binks.
No. She wasn't like anywhere close to Jar Jar Binks. But like I was fine with her introduction because it made sense because of how with her sister, you know, sacrificing her life for the bombing and whatnot, which was actually a pretty good scene. I really liked that scene.
Yeah.
But like I had no problem with her introduction. It was just how they kept her through the movie felt unnecessary.
Yeah.
I thought the actress was fine.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, the beginning she was fine, but I think her character is just, after that, her character is just dumb.
Yeah, she's just there to be there. And she's just kind of like, this movie could be, like the rest of the movie, like after the whole introduction, the rest of the movie could just be a tad bit better, without her technical difficulties. But yeah, and that's another thing with Rose's character, and like she was kind of unnecessary. One thing, like probably the biggest unnecessary thing in this movie was the gambling planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
roads, and then that whole part. It was just to. It was just
filler.
Filler.
political BS.
Yeah.
And then to introduce that kid.
So, are they gonna do a time jump next movie? You think?
Feel like they probably will. It'll probably be the easiest way to write out Leia because they didn't kill her off. I thought they were going to,
Yeah.
but they didn't.
I kind of wish they had, because that would have been like a great ending
Yeah,
for her.
yeah.
yeah. Either that or replace Leia with the purple-haired lady from Jurassic Park at the end, and have Leia do the light speed tearing through the ship.
Yeah.
That would have been a satisfying ending as well.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
that was like my favorite shot out of the entire movie, was when it like showed it and like split and then it had the light coming through. I was just like,
Oh,
That was a cool shot.
and the way it went silent was so cool.
yeah.
And in the theater, after it went silent, there was this one kid that was like, "Mommy." I was just sitting there, and Casey next to me was just like holding back laughter. He was like doing this, trying to hold back laughter. And I was about to start laughing too, because it was just funny. He was like, "Mommy."
Well,
Yeah, that was funny. But that shot was awesome. That scene. Was
Yeah,
awesome.
that is my favorite shot out of the whole movie.
And let's talk about Leia. Since we
Okay.
mentioned her. Especially her almost death.
Well, up until that point where she got like blown out of the after that point, I feel like she was kind of useless.
Yeah.
it's kind of there. Yeah.
So
I think Carrie Fisher did fine in the movie, but I don't. That point where she gets blown out of the spaceship, I don't buy at all.
Yeah.
where she forced
That was like, what?
herself.
Yeah. So we've been shown in the original trilogy that Leia is Force sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
She
it
was
showed
able to
it in
sense
Force
where
Awakens.
Luke was on Cloud City. Was able to sense that he was alive when the second Death Star blew up. We get these little glimpses of that, but then the Force Awakens just kind of ignore a lot, like she didn't progress anywhere. She's still just the same amount of Force sensitivity. Nothing new, But so I could still buy that maybe she'd be able to, in a situation of like that, she'd be able to force pull herself, right? But what I don't buy is that I could buy that this could be done, but not by Leia. Because if you're going to be out in the vacuum of space, where it's super cold, and you'd have to create some sort of field around you with the Force to protect yourself from the environment first off, before you are able to pull yourself back.
Yeah.
I was reminded of the scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 where they're shooting the people out into space and they just freeze really quick and they die.
Yeah.
There's more to it than just pulling yourself back to the ship. You have to keep yourself alive. I could buy someone who's in a suit, a stormtrooper suit or Vader suit. I could buy them being caught in space for a little bit before getting back in, but not Leia.
No.
She's also already frozen at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminded me of can't remember his name, but in the Clone Wars cartoon, one of the Jedi's, Sassatine, I think, put on a helmet and was out in space.
Yeah, he had a suit on though. He had a clone trooper suit basically. but designed for him to be out on space.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, she didn't have anything on. That's why I say like,
Yeah.
and I mean, if you had done it with like some great Jedi master or something, and been like, okay, he was able to create like a field around him with the Force to protect himself from the outside environment long enough to pull himself back to the ship, I would have bought it.
Yeah. Luke Skywalker
But
would have been
she's
able to do that.
She's just a Force sensitive. She's not
Right.
trained in Force or anything.
Yeah,
So,
she's never learned anything. She's just had that sensitivity to the Force. So, and just the way that it looked too when she's like pulling back, it just looked kind of ridiculous.
I know.
yeah.
Like Mary Poppins.
It's like, number one,
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
my first question about that scene is how come I know this might be nitpicky. I understand that, but like it was a big explosion. How come she didn't get any kind of damage from the explosion? That's my first question. And then all those questions that you mentioned are next, but like my first question was that was a really big explosion and it pretty much took out that section. How come it wasn't the explosion that killed her? And then it's like, she's floating in space, you see her floating in space, and it's like, okay, so it's going to be the space that kills her or whatever, just being in space, and then she forces herself back, and I was just like, what is going on?
I thought for sure that was how they were killing her off, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too.
So I thought it was a good ending. Kylo Ren, super badass at that moment. You know, like just goes straight in, blows up their hangar, and then like it was like, oh yeah, he's a Skywalker, piloting like that. But then you know he goes in to do it, but then he can't do it, and the other TIEs drop their missiles. I thought that was a good scene.
Yeah.
Up to that point, you know, up to that point, I thought it was really good. I was like, okay, this is satisfying.
Yeah, and the way Adam Driver portrayed his brief struggle of doing it was very well.
Yeah.
Was done very well.
Adam Driver is the best thing about the new trilogy.
Yes.
I agree.
Have you heard anything about his method acting on set? Because I've heard like stuff of like Finn, like this is Force Awakens, not Last Jedi, but I've heard stuff about like Finn and everybody like inviting him to dinner and trying to give him hugs, like they'd actually give him hugs and he just never breaks us. He never smiled at all. And I'm just like,
well,
that guy's
he's a really
awesome.
good actor, so yeah, it's paying off. He is the single best thing about this movie and about the Force Awakens.
I agree.
Sure. His performance is so solid through this. It's the most solid performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
I
the
also
scene when he
feel like
destroys helmet.
that the writers Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams like focus everything on Kylo Ren. Like, I think Kylo Ren is probably the most fleshed out character in both movies.
Yeah.
And to a fault, because like Kylo Ren is all fleshed out and everything, and then there are plot holes in everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like at this point, I'm rooting for Kylo Ren to win at the end. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And let's just go ahead and go into Kylo Ren's character.
I think they've really tried to flesh out Rey's character and build that up. I think they just failed.
Yeah, they're not doing good with it.
Yeah, because like the Force Awakens, there's the whole Mary Sue aspect that just, for me, I can't get that interested in her character because everything goes right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And she's too powerful. And that too, that's actually another reason why, that's one of the reasons why her parents being nobody doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So like, the Force, she's too powerful. Stuff, she's too powerful. No answer of who her parents would have been good enough for me. But the most reasonable answer would have been that she's a Skywalker. But it still wouldn't have, in my mind, been good enough because Luke wasn't that powerful at first. He had to develop.
Yeah.
But it would have been the most reasonable answer. because Anakin Skywalker was made purely of the Force, and so that's why his bloodline is so strong with the Force.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that makes the most sense. But
Right. It's still too. She's still too powerful for
Yeah.
even that.
And especially, like, if her
Yeah.
parents are buddies, why is she so force sensitive? Were her parents force sensitive?
Yeah.
Right.
But decided to be
Like,
scavengers?
I definitely liked Rey's character in this movie better because I didn't feel like she was as OP with her fight scenes as she was in Force
Yeah.
Awakens.
Yeah.
I like
One
how
of the
Snoke's
reasons she
like,
didn't fight.
you were
Kylo Ren.
beat by a girl who's never picked up a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's kind of what the fans were complaining
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, and in the Force Awakens, when after Kylo's beaten and all, Snoke tells Huxley to get Kylo and bring him to me. It's time to finish his training. In this movie, we don't get any of that. He's just like mad at him for failing. He's like,
Yeah,
what
I
about
know. Like,
training? Like, what happened to that? Did that already happen off screen? Did we not see that? Is Kylo Ren a Sith Lord now? Like, I don't know.
Is he
It was
Darth
just
Ren?
another aspect of Force Awakens that was ignored in
yeah.
this movie.
yeah, everything. That goes back to the whole director and different writing and stuff. They
Yeah.
just don't add up together. They're almost like two completely different films. And a couple things I want to go in with Kylo's character is, number one, I love the scene. One of his best scenes was when he destroyed his helmet, because it just symbolized so much of his character development, of him kind of like, I mean, it happened right after Snoke was like, get that ridiculous mask off your face, blah, 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 and then he destroys it, and I just love that scene of how it was portrayed and everything.
Yeah. And then he goes out and he's like, I'm going to prove myself. And then he can't kill his mom.
And another thing, this is probably my only complaint with Kylo Ren's character, is he didn't keep the scar right there that he got from in Force Awakens.
Yeah.
It kind of just healed up. It was kind of
Yeah.
like stitched over and stuff. Kind of wish he just kept it. It would have looked cool. He would have looked more cool than he already does. But yeah, Kylo, by far the best thing in both Force Awakens and Last Jedi.
Yep. So, what do you guys think when they killed Snoke?
Let's go into that. Let's talk about Snoke's character. Like, everything. Because, like, honestly, he should have been in the movie more. And if
Yeah.
they did go through with finishing the training, he would have been, I think. But, like, he still looks really cool. I'm glad that we got to see him,
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he was still awesome in Force Awakens and had a lot of build-up, but, like, I am so glad we actually got to see him. And he looks cool. I love his little, his ship is awesome, number one. It makes Star Destroyers look like Legos. And, like, his Royal Guard is so much more
Yeah.
cool than the Emperor's Royal Guard. And that's something else that I'm thinking that they're pointing towards him being Plagueis, is that. But, like, that was, like, the only thing besides his scar on his forehead that I saw that they could have been setting up for him still being Plagueis.
Yeah.
So, before we go into his death, anything to add on his character? Or his Royal Guard? Because that was an awesome fight scene. That was an awesome fight scene.
Probably one of the best one of my favorite things about Last Jedi was the fight scene with
Yeah.
Kylo and Rey. Kylo and Rey. uh, fighting the Royal Guard.
Yeah.
Kylo had the better fight scenes, like by far.
Yeah.
Yeah. And their weapons were so awesome too.
Yeah.
This is actually the first main episode that didn't have a lightsaber fight.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like,
There's no lightsaber on lightsaber contact in it.
Yeah. My goodness, Ryan Johnson, what were you doing? This is Star Wars. You can't do that. We gotta have lightsaber fights. Yeah.
yep.
So, but with Snoke, I felt this way about a lot of the stuff that they just kind of brushed over. That The Force Awakens raised the question. It felt like, The Force Awakens raised these questions, and then the fans go crazy with their theories and stuff, putting everything together, and then they're just like, they see that and they're just like, okay, let's just get rid of all this.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they did with Snoke. They see all these people like coming up with theories on who he is because, like, he hasn't been around in the movies, but he's apparently been around since episode 1 or something. But and then the way his face is all deformed and scarred and everything, that alone has a story in it, and so it makes people wonder.
Yeah.
So there's all these theories, and then they're just like, okay, well, he's dead, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's something J.J. Abrams will fix. Because
I hope so.
we've seen people in the Star Wars universe, Darth Maul, survive. Something like that. But like, here's the thing. Here's something I want to add about the theory thing. It's okay for fans to be correct on theories. That's okay.
Right.
I kind of feel like some writers just get way too obsessed with it and be like, oh, I gotta prove him wrong. I have to prove him wrong.
Oh, they
because
figured
I'm,
it
like,
out
superior
before
or
I
something.
revealed it.
Yeah.
Well, now I gotta change it.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I hate
I
that.
do
Like,
feel like some people feel that way, and it's kind of irritating because I feel like when they change things like that, it's not as good as what they were originally going for.
yeah, because like, if the theories came out to be true, then it's more satisfying. But then again, that's not everybody's theory, because everybody has their own theory. Some theories are wrong, some theories are right. So the theories that are right is satisfying, and the theories that
It's
are wrong,
exciting for as a fan to pick up on the little details and try and put together what they're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's just say that thank goodness it's not Jar Jar.
Oh my gosh, I would have been so mad.
I mean, it's funny and all, but like, I just hate the fact that people are just still going on about it. Like, yeah, we get it. It's funny. It was a funny thing just to like kind of say. It's like, hey, Jar Jar's the villain behind everything. That's so funny. But now it's like,
well,
okay,
we've
heard this theory
that it
so much. It's
Jar
ridiculous.
Jar because of the fact that J.J. Abrams wanted to show on screen Jar Jar being killed. So
Yeah.
If he wanted to do that, there's no way that he'd make Jar Jar the Sith Lord.
Yeah.
And then it's like you think about all these theories and all this build up from the first movie into The Last Jedi, and it's like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Well, kind of. We're not really getting anywhere with Snoke's backstory and his character, but he looks cool.
I would have been fine with not getting that until 9.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Which, would be better anyway. But, like, it's like, okay, he's in this one. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with him being in it.
Yeah.
He looks cool. He doesn't do anything with the lightsaber. It's shown how strong he is in the Force, which I thought was portrayed pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of still, like, just that, how strong he was in the Force, that he could just throw everything around without even moving his hands. just means that that's even more build-up. Like, all of that would be still more build-up to his character and his backstory. But then, everything I just said just gets thrown out the window because he gets cut in half. And it's like, think about how disappointing that is.
Yeah,
Nobody wanted that.
It is. But the thing about it is like that was like kind of a letdown. But at the same time, like I really like the way Kylo did kill him. It showed how strong Kylo was and everything in the Force, how strong he'd become. I think that it should have been in the next movie.
Yeah.
It should have waited longer. Let's see Kylo Ren finish his training. Let's see him become this strong. And then, let's see him, be stronger than what appears to be the strongest Force wielder around right now,
Yeah. And here's something else I want to add. And this is kind of me going into theory time. So, theory time. Pay attention to the dialogue in that scene. And how they build up his death. I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, like, especially after, like, I was like, I don't buy for a second that Snoke, who we think is Plagueis, I just want to call him Plagueis, but I don't think that Snoke was caught off guard by that. If you pay attention to his dialogue, he is literally saying everything that Kylo Ren is about to do. He's telling him about, like, he's his worst enemy. If you think about it, with the rule of two, a Sith apprentice's worst enemy is his master. In some ways, when you consider the rule of two. So I don't think that he was caught off guard by it.
You think he was doing it on purpose?
Yeah.
They were both doing it on purpose.
Yeah, because, like, it was Snoke. I almost called him Plagueis again. It was Snoke who, like, he confirmed that it was him that was being able to have Kylo and Rey talk to each other when they were so far apart. And that was, again, another build-up of how strong he is. So, it's almost like, I don't buy, like, you got all this build-up for how strong he is. I don't think he, like, was unaware of the lightsaber moving next to him. I don't think he was unaware of that at all. I think he was able, like, he was sitting there being like, I can see through my apprentice, blah, blah, blah. He was going to cut down his worst enemy. And I'm just thinking, he knows he's not going to kill Rey. So, yeah, that's not really theory. This next thing I'm about to say is, but I'm kind of not. I kind of want Snoke to get, like, mechanical legs or something instead of this, because this theory is, I mean, I'll share it and everything, but, like, this theory is kind of me just going along with the rules of the movie and ignoring the rules of Star Wars in just this movie. But
yeah, because this movie does have different rules than the rest of Star Wars.
But, like, the thing that Luke did at the end, which we'll go more into in a second, but, like, I kind of feel like maybe Plagueis did that and just was strong enough to put up a better illusion of him being killed. That's, like, that was something that I thought of coming out of the movie theater. Not something, like, I'm so into this theory, like, I'm going to defend everything about it, you know. It's not that kind of theory. That's just something I thought of after coming out of the theater. And then realizing that that entire thing is kind of dumb and not really Star Wars. So yeah, that was a lot on Snoke, but
yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, but, like,
I think if Snoke is Plagueis, then what you're saying about him letting Kylo Ren kill him would be very possible. Because
Definitely.
if he's Plagueis, then the same thing happened with Palpatine.
Yes.
Palpatine killed Plagueis and really thought that he killed him. So if if he did survive that, which, you know, he's one of the strongest Force wielders ever, and he can manipulate, you know, the midichlorians and stuff. So if he's Plagueis, then yeah, that could be possible. That he is just making a convincing death again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
back together with the Force somehow.
yeah, and just the way that dialogue is portrayed is like, he knows he's gonna die. Like, I didn't find that at all shocking. And even, I mean, I only saw it once, but like, I feel like he didn't have a shocked look on his face. Like, he just had that face that was just like, oh, I got a lightsaber through me. So, yeah. But I honestly don't buy that he's dead. So yeah, that was a long section on Snoke, but it's fine because that was a lot.
Yeah.
But since I mentioned it, what are you guys' thoughts on the whole thing that Luke Skywalker did at the end?
I mean, the Force is a thing that not everyone fully knows. So, I mean, I guess it's possible, but that kind of pushed it for me. I was like, can you really do that with the Force? Like, is that a thing you can do with the Force?
Yeah. It was just too much different than anything we'd ever seen.
Yeah.
There's just nothing building up to it. Whereas, like, when the Force, I've got no problem with them introducing new Force abilities. You know, like when the Force Awakens did it, it was believable.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren freezing stuff. Well, we've seen people move stuff with the Force, so why couldn't they stop something from moving with the Force? We've seen Obi-Wan manipulate people's minds. Well, why can't someone just search into the mind and get information that way? You know, that stuff was believable. In this, a Force projection, you know, like from God knows how far. I mean, Luke was on an unfindable planet pretty much, you know, so they had to have like a special map to find it because like it's uncharted and everything. So he's going to project himself all the way across the galaxy.
Yeah.
It's really far-fetched.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah,
And,
I completely agree.
By the other stuff either, the communication. So like we saw Vader talk to Luke through the Force in The Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's all it was though. Like he said very little. Just you know, he was just calling out to him pretty much. But you know, Luke could hear him. But this was like full on visual. I can see you, and he can even transport. Yeah, I can even transport like physical. Like they touched each other. Kylo wiped his face, and there was water on it when she was near the water. Like, I mean, water transported across the galaxy through the Force FaceTime.
Yeah, it's like they were trying to do Skype or something.
One thing and taking it beyond believability.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, a lot of the Force stuff. Because, I mean, the Force is a big part of Star Wars, obviously, and a very big part. I mean, it plays a bigger part in certain movies than others. And this is one of the movies that they definitely tried to make it play a big part. But it was just too much because they were trying to do things, all kinds of new things, and trying to be different and blah, blah, blah. And trying to, like, introduce all this stuff.
With what Luke did is, okay, so he's a projection, so nothing can touch him, it'll just go through him, right?
Right.
So he goes over and he hands Leia those like dice things, and she's like physically holding on to them.
Yeah.
And then he goes and confronts Kylo Ren, and then he shows him that he's a
Projection.
projection,
Yeah.
and he dissipates, and then it shows Luke Skywalker, and he's just drained. Like, so was he still holding concentration on those like two dice? Because Kylo Ren goes back in there, finds them, picks them up, like physically picks them up,
and then they disappear.
They disappeared, though, is the thing. Like, he died before he picks them up. Picks up the dice, I'm pretty sure. Because
he either died or is just like drained. But why would you like keep your concentration on those two dice that if you're just gonna like make them disappear when he picks them up?
Right. Luke Skywalker was purposely screwing with Kylo Ren. His dad's dice, and then as soon as he picks him up, oh, never mind. What a savage!
Like him and Yoda are sitting there, like.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Luke died before the dice disappeared. So like the dice were still there after Luke died.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And just like the whole scene,
I don't
like,
understand how that ability works at all.
No, it doesn't make any sense. But like the first thing I thought of, like when they were gunning him down, like I was thinking, force shield, and we mentioned that because it was like the only way to have the whole space thing believable was a force shield. So I was like, oh, he's doing a force shield. Like, that part was...
Yeah.
I would have accepted
that. Either that or they just killed him.
I know. I was thinking, did they really just do that, sacrifice the serious moment for a quick laugh? Like, right now, is Luke dead? Did they just do that? Because Disney does that all the time.
Yeah.
It's annoying how much they do that. Like, at the beginning of the movie where he just chucks the lightsaber.
Yeah.
That's retarded.
Yeah.
No. It's like, you get the flip. Then you're like, that was stupid.
And in Thor Ragnarok, you haven't seen Ragnarok yet. Well, I guess this isn't a huge spoiler. Bruce Banner's like, I'm gonna save the day. Jumps out of the ship and then just like falls. Just flat.
Wow.
Yeah, Disney does it all the time. It's like they're afraid of their serious moments getting laughed at or something, that they just make a quick joke out of it and get a quick little giggle.
Yeah. Or they want to make it not so serious.
Yeah.
But they're...
It's getting to be way too much. Like, they're doing it way too much.
Yeah. Like, come on.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
They still made a joke out of it. He walked off and...
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
yeah. But one thing I did like about that scene was when he finally faced off with Kylo Ren, he still tried to make it to where Kylo Ren didn't touch him. Like, even if their lightsabers didn't touch.
Yeah, he's just all dodging. And that was a pretty sweet little fight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The way Luke Skywalker, like, dodges and he, like, flips around and stuff, that was cool. And if you watch it, you'll notice, too, Luke Skywalker's feet don't leave any of the red marks on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a nice little detail that shows that they were, paying attention to how they were filming the scene and everything.
They didn't pay attention to the dice, though.
Right. They didn't. There's a lot of stuff they didn't pay attention to in this movie, or just didn't know the rules of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
That's one thing they didn't
I have a lot of complaints about the in-space stuff when we get there.
Yeah. What in
like
space?
that whole thing in space, the entirety of the movie that's in space.
Okay, yeah.
First Order and the Resistance just shouldn't be there.
Yeah. But we'll go
I really enjoyed how the whole movie was like, there's no possible way that the Resistance can win this. Like, they are just being decimated. Like, I liked that.
I did too. I
I
like the
just wish they had
hopelessness.
ended it with that instead of ending it on, and ending it where they did end it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really liked the hopelessness of the situation and everything. I just
Yeah.
think that they could have done it differently.
Yeah.
And I like that, like, almost the entire movie was kind of like that. Like, it takes place
Yeah.
during this entire situation. Instead of, like, The Force Awakens, where it was different. They're going this plan, and then they go to this plan, then they find the resistance, and then all this. Like, I
Yeah.
like that they portrayed it as if the entire movie is during this crisis of them trying to escape.
This is how I wish it would have ended. To get one, a good ending for like all the fans to just be like, so what's gonna happen in the next movie, and also to get a sense of more mortality. Uh, okay, so Finn and Rose are captured. Everyone is just being destroyed. The purple-haired lady is watching all of the people she just saved being destroyed, and she's the only one who's gonna live. Uh, Finn and Rose are just about to be executed. Um, I feel like they should have just ended it there right after they executed Finn and Rose.
Hmm.
Like you don't know what's gonna happen in the next. You don't know what they're gonna do to get out of the
Yeah.
situation. Two of the main characters just died. What
Yeah.
are they
That
gonna
that is an
do? Guess
interesting
we'll
way
have
to
to
think of
wait a
it.
year to find out.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting way to think of it. But I'm glad they didn't do it in some ways because the last battle scene on that planet, that moon
Yeah.
with the red, that looked visually beautiful. That was so good. That was one of the best parts of the movies was just the visuals of that battle.
I just wish that they weren't trying to copy the Hoth scene in the way
Yeah.
that it was set up. But it
Yeah.
was beautiful. I just wish that they didn't try to make it look exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that my girlfriend said about that scene, was she looked at the whole red stuff with she like analyzed that, and she was like, uh red is on both sides because war is brutal, and no matter if you're on the good side or the bad side, there's always going to be blood and red. And I was like, I didn't actually think about that, and I don't know if that's like an actual thing, but I like that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I like that too. And that's something else that I also
Red
like.
always represents the dark side in Star Wars. So I mean, like to have in war, you're the dark side of both, even the good,
Yeah.
comes out. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing I liked about this movie is that um, there was almost it was shown more. It was kind of almost focused more of how many people die.
Yeah.
You know, that was more so at the beginning with the bombing, the failed
Yeah.
bombing stuff. But like that was kind of cool. Like they were actually going because like the only thing that looked like a war film was like the beginning of Force Awakens, which was inspired. Like J.J. Abrams said, it was inspired by like the D-Day scene of Saving Private Ryan and stuff. But like I feel like this, The Last Jedi, was portrayed, or it kind of had that semi-focus of like this war, you know?
Yeah. It's still a war.
Yeah,
It
and
is a war. It's not.
I like that part of the
Shoot stuff.
movie as well.
Since you mentioned the bombing, I want to talk a little bit about Poe Dameron's character before I talk about all the space stuff that's just wrong. Because I like Poe Dameron.
Hold on. Pause real quick. I'll be right back. Dad just texted me to get Jack. Hold on.
Should you
Sorry.
stop recording?
Gather your
All right,
thoughts.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to take a piss.
And here I am by myself. This is awkward.
Oh no, we all left. Guys? You guys definitely planned this. You guys plan to be gone when I get back. Hello. When I got back, I was like, "You guys planned this to be gone when I get back, didn't you?" So this whole section right here is going to be like an outtake at the end of the video or something.
Recording?
Yeah, we're still recording. I didn't stop. I only stopped when I ended the call before because of the technical difficulties. Okay, let's get back into The Last Jedi.
But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about Poe Dameron.
Yes.
Okay, so I like Poe Dameron.
Yeah.
But in this movie, he did not feel like the same character at all.
No, I was definitely thinking that as well. Like, I was like, this doesn't feel like him.
Right. So, okay, so you got the thing at the beginning. He disobeys the direct order and gets a lot of people killed, but they did what they were trying to do. And so then later on through the movie, towards the end, everyone's dying, and he makes the smarter call and pulls out, and it's supposed to show him. She's supposed to show him like developing as a leader, which is fine. That's a cool concept to do, right?
Yeah.
The thing is I think his decision making in all the situations, or in the first and last situation, are completely wrong. So obviously the one at the beginning is supposed to be wrong, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that I don't buy about it is he's a commander, right? Commander Dameron.
Yeah.
You don't get ranked commander by disobeying direct orders like that,
Oh, yeah.
Being a hothead like they make him out to be. Like, you don't get as high as he did if you're like that.
Yeah.
So right there, I'm like, eh.
And just how his character was in Force Awakens didn't make that decision believable either.
Right. And then, okay, so he makes an unbelievably wrong call at the beginning. And then at the end, when he's like supposed to have matured and wisened up, it's like that's the moment that your back is against the corner. You don't think there's any way out. This is your last stand. You're trying to do anything you can to just buy some more time. That's all you're trying to do. That's not when you decide, okay, we're losing too many men, let's pull out. That's when you're like, okay, well, this is where we're fighting to the last man right here. This is it. All right, we're all gonna die. All right.
I know that, like, I was talking about my perfect ending for that movie was when they execute them.
Yeah.
I think that Finn should have died when he was, like, sacrificing himself to save everybody else. Like, whether that was in vain or not, I still think he should have sacrificed himself and died in that situation. But nope, Rose had to come in and save him, and then Rose didn't even die.
Yeah, I was really like, oh, Finn's about to die. And I was like, everything in the scene was built up perfectly for it. His acting was good. I was like, okay, this is about to happen. I buy this. This is a good scene. And then Rose crashes into them and is like, I saved you, dummy. I'm like, the way you just crashed into him, you practically killed yourself. I mean, you most likely would have killed him too, and then everything would have been in vain. Did you learn nothing from your sister's sacrifice? That whole part made no sense at all.
I know.
No.
It's
at
like,
all.
You just ruined a very good scene.
She told him she loved him with no, like, build-up. Like,
yeah,
they went on an adventure together, but there wasn't any, like, romance there at all.
right. And
like,
I love too how Finn's just
people,
like, okay, I kind of still like this other girl, but
Hold on.
like, he does not kiss her back. She just kisses him.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the whole adventure thing, Nathaniel. This is Disney now. All you need is an adventure to have a couple.
Apparently.
If you think about it. Like, that's another thing that I felt about the Gambling Planet subplot, is that it felt too Disney. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder if I wonder if a lot of the things that we have problems with it wasn't Ryan Johnson. It was Disney trying to be like, we need to have this, 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 and this in there.
I honestly wouldn't be too
Well-
surprised about that.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Like, I definitely would have accepted Finn's death with that. With him going into the battering ram cannon. Stupid name for it. They could have came up with something better. But I feel like it should have had, like, a cooler name and not just battering ram cannon. But
Yeah.
I was just like, couldn't it have been called, like,
Grom.
I don't know, like anything but that.
Like, no battering laser or something, or just call it a battering
Yeah,
ram.
I mean,
Who cares?
you kind of, it's almost like Vegeta named it, like Vegeta's Big Bang Attack in the English dub. That's what one of his attacks is called.
Big
It's
Bang
Big Bang Attack. It's like, did he name this?
Annie.
It's like, hey Vegeta, we need you to name this. Battering Ram Cannon. Perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was dumb. But like, I would have accepted that for his death. I thought that would have been a really good end for his character.
Agreed.
And it would have been even better because he
Oh.
didn't see Rey.
One's gonna die unless they are old. A character who's introduced in the original trilogy, or they were introduced in this movie and don't have anything to do with the plot.
Yeah.
Those are the only people who are gonna die.
Yeah.
Main characters aren't gonna die unless
Yeah.
they're the bad guy.
And I definitely felt like it would have been better for him to die then anyway, because then as soon as Rey found out, we would have gotten a good scene out of that.
Yeah.
It's like the last time she saw Finn was when he was in a coma, basically, you know? And that would have been really good. That would have been time to, you know, have some to shine as an actor. Like, hey, you got this emotional scene, you can do some good acting, you know?
Yeah.
I also don't like the way that, like, so they always seem to try to be like proving Poe wrong or showing that he's a hothead and immature. Right on, like in between the two parts that I talked about, like on the ship and stuff.
Mhm.
It's made out like he's just a hothead, but in all reality, he's not making the wrong decisions. Like, I don't understand why the purple-haired lady isn't letting anybody know the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, does she think everybody, the many resistance people that are left, are they all Imperial spies? Like, why does no one know the plan?
It's like, as soon as Poe and all those other guys pulled guns on her, it's like, well, you brought this on yourself because you didn't want to.
Yeah.
It's like, you were the one that practically started a war between the Resistance in a crisis
Yeah.
situation.
They're not
That is
telling
very bad
anybody
leadership.
Because as soon as Leia told Poe the plan, he was like, "Oh, that could work. Yeah, that might work." Why was she so whatever against, you know, not telling people the plan?
Buddy.
You're not a commander anymore. You don't get to know. You just get back to your station.
It's like, at the meeting, it's like, hey, this person's
I mean,
in
Makes
charge
no
now.
sense at all. Tales of the Bounty Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see it when the screen is split between the view, but when you were on the full screen, I could see it.
Oh.
I got that a while ago.
So I shouldn't be here then, huh?
Huh?
Is that what you're saying? I shouldn't be here so you can look at the cover of a book? You'd rather see the cover of a book than your brother?
Yes.
Wow. That was cold.
Only when it's a Star Wars book.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're talking about Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Ian.
Okay,
Shut up. You
Star
say.
Wars. Back to Star Wars. What were we talking about?
Purple hair lady is stupid.
Yeah.
If I was in her position, I would and Poe Dameron was like yelling at me the way he was yelling at her in the movie. I've been like, okay, this is what I'm planning on doing. Leave me alone.
Yeah, it's like, okay, here's the plan. This is what we got. This is all we got. All right, and he would have been like, oh, okay, because as soon as he was told the plan, he was like, that could work. You know,
it's like
it's
at the
all that conflict
And also,
on
if you
there
like
just
tell
happens
somebody,
because she won't tell anybody the plan.
if
yeah.
you tell somebody, they might see something in the plan that'd be like, this probably would be better, and then the plan would work out better. So
Yeah, it's like during the meeting, she should have been like, "Okay, guys, I'm in charge because Leia put me in charge." So, which I was kind of confused on how. I guess she was just second in command anyway, because how could Leia put her in charge if she was in a coma at that time?
I
But
think she's
whatever.
just next in line to
Yeah,
be
next in line.
command because most of the command was wiped out in the like Admiral
Yeah.
Akbar, and all that. They were all killed.
Yeah, I was fine with Admiral Akbar dying. That was a good time for him, I think. But
Yeah.
like during the meeting, she just could be like, "Okay, guys, I'm in command now." Until Leia wakes
this is
up.
like,
This is the plan. And then everybody like, "Alright, that's pretty cool. Hey, that's pretty good. Let's do that." So yeah. Did you get my reference? I just referenced another YouTuber on a YouTube video. So yeah.
Oh.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's a
Gotcha.
anyway, Star Wars.
So yeah, the space stuff. Space stuff doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And okay, so like space stuff in Star Wars never has made that much sense, you know? Like apparently there's no explosions in space. Probably wouldn't be able to see like the lasers and stuff. But like all that stuff is for show, right?
yeah.
Just for show. It's not essential to the plot. There is space stuff in this that is essential to the plot. It just doesn't work. So this is why it stands out so much. Whereas I'm fine with explosions in space and seeing the lasers because it's cool.
Yeah, it's a space battle.
First thing, towards the beginning of the movie with the bombers. So like all the time so far when the spaceship has an open section, there's like a shield thing covering it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to not let the vacuum of space suck your ship apart. Right? So I did not see when the bottom of the bombers open up, I didn't see any sort of force field shield thing up to stop the vacuum of space from tearing them apart and sucking everyone out. Second, there's no gravity in space. They don't. Okay, so like there is bombers in the Star Wars universe. There's TIE bombers and there's Y-wings, but they kind of like I always just assume that because it's like a laser type bomb. So like I just always assume they just shoot it just in a downward motion. But these bombs, they just get dropped. They just drop those bombs on the Dreadnought at the beginning, and look, there's no gravity. I don't know how that works.
Yeah. That's not a bad concept, but number one, it can't be used in space. It would have to be on a planet. And number two, like, there hardly is no number two. Like, number one, it's in space. There's no way that those ships, again, not a bad concept, but there's no way that those ships could ever walk in space.
Yeah. It felt like they were trying to do something.
I didn't actually think about that, but that makes so much sense.
Yeah. I feel like they were trying to do something new, but then they didn't think about the fact that it's in space, and it feels like that stuff should happen like in an atmosphere, you know, on a planet. So yeah, when they said bring in the bombers or whatever, I was expecting Y-wings to come in. I was excited.
I was like, ooh, Y-wings, yay!
But no, it was like, what are these giant things? And then they just drop the bombs and stuff, and you know. And then, another big problem is when they're on the run from the First Order. So like, I can't remember exactly if they said that the Resistance ships were a little bit faster than them. Did they say that? That's why they couldn't like reach them exactly.
I think so. I feel like that was touched upon.
Right. So the thing is like they would have to be going the exact same speed to stay the same distance apart. If the rebel ship is faster, then it's going to slowly get farther and farther away from the First Order ship.
Yeah, so they had to have been going the same speed.
The exact same speed, just at a set distance, and it's too far for their lasers to get through the shield. Second, they're like at top speed, right? And they're running out of fuel. Well, this is the other thing. They're in space. They don't need the fuel. They're already going top speed. They can just shut the engines off, and they'll just keep coasting at the same speed forever, because there's no gravity. There's no, pulling on it. That's how you could just.
I didn't think about that either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't have to run out of fuel.
Space to notice these things.
Dude, we should just.
And I didn't. It seemed off to me, but I didn't really put my finger on it the first watch. The second watch, I was kind of like, oh, this stuff doesn't really work out so well. Dude. So I can buy that everything in the space doesn't have to make sense, but when that's just this thing is visual to make it look cool, apart from this is how this story is progressing. Because this is happening, it's well, this doesn't work.
They're low on fuel. We'll have them in 6 hours.
Yeah.
Let's just turn off the engines.
Just turn them off. Yeah, we'll keep coasting at the same speed.
Yeah.
24 hours later, why haven't we got fuel yet?
They haven't ran out of fuel yet. What the
Engines
heck?
are off. Wait, you can just turn your engines off? Well, why are we wasting fuel?
Just because we're the First Order doesn't mean that we'll have an unlimited amount of fuel, but apparently it does because the script portrays us that way. It made sense for the Empire because they kind of had the whole entire galaxy under their control, but I don't think the First Order really has that. So,
well, I feel like that's what they're working on, getting it that way.
They definitely will. You can definitely see that sense that they will rising to power.
Yeah, but so their opposition was the New Republic or whatever, right? And the New Republic funded the resistance. So so they destroyed the New Republic, so they're kind of free to kind of take control, I guess. But I just feel it would have been nice to see that there's someone else to oppose them. It just kind of feels like they're just free to take over now. But it's if you blow up an entire system of planets, people in the galaxy are probably going to be a little upset and probably aren't going to just over.
That's
so the way
thing.
the Empire took control was the Republic gained trust of everyone and was protecting a lot of systems during the Clone Wars, and then Palpatine took over everything, and things changed, but they already had their grip on the galaxy when they came into being.
Yeah. I feel like I was going to mention something. That is something interesting. I feel like we might be able to see some of this with the Han Solo movie, since we kind of already have that little hint that he was an Imperial, officer or something in his past. But I kind of want to see some kind of, not necessarily a rise of the Empire, well, sort of, but not, in the way of them taking over planets and stuff, because they already had that, like you said, but just the change in Almor, in the change of, because, how they were recruiting new people, because, not all of them were clones, because you see from, Rebels and stuff that they were recruiting people. One of the Rebels episodes was, Ezra going undercover as a new recruit of that age or whatnot. So, I want to see some of that stuff in the Han Solo movie. I think that would be interesting. Maybe seeing them kind of maybe he was one of the officers kind of in charge of the new armor being transferred to all the soldiers or something. I don't know. That would be interesting to see. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the Han Solo movie.
I think it's possible that Han Solo might have gone through like the Imperial Academy or been in it. You know, like
Yeah.
basically like military training for the Imperials.
Yeah.
Because his clothing style was somewhat similar to his jacket and stuff looked similar to the Imperial officers. Some, and he knew the spot where on the Star Destroyer where he could hide from their radar and stuff. I don't know. I mean, maybe he just picked all that stuff up from smuggling, but he is from Corellia, which I believe is a pretty Imperial-controlled planet, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So it's chances that he's like had some stuff to do with the Empire at some point, like before getting away and just being able to be free.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we'll find out this year. It's supposed to come out like earlier too. It's not December. It's like May or March or something.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yeah, it's
How
soon.
come we haven't seen anything? We haven't even seen a trailer or anything yet.
They're probably waiting for The Last Jedi first before they drop a trailer.
That's true.
It's
Because
gotta
people
be
can't hold all that. It was like, have a Star Wars movie still out, not even out on DVDs, not even out. Like, it's in theaters and stuff, and then there's a trailer for another Star Wars spin-off. It's like, we can't handle this!
Yeah.
We're not done collecting our thoughts on The Last Jedi yet. What are you doing?
May 25th.
Oh, yeah. May 25th.
May 25th.
So it's probably already in post-production right now.
Yeah.
That's
Probably.
what it's set to release.
They're probably they're not already
gave me
finished. They're
that
probably just
look.
about finished.
Connor gave the look like.
Yeah. I'd say we get a trailer fairly soon.
Yeah. Maybe
I think
by the end of
Alright,
this
so,
month or something.
so we've talked
Drop
about
the trailer
all of
Star
our.
Wars celebration, but that's in May, so it's got to be pretty soon here.
So we talked about all of our dislikes, what our problems with the movie. What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked
did you
about good
like?
stuff.
I mean, yeah, but like
But yeah, let's go into
comparatively,
positivity.
like, all in one section. What did you like about the movie?
It's all about the positivity now. Positivity, yeah. I said this before, but the last battle with the sand and the red stuff was just visually beautiful to look at, and just the way, like,
I
everything
would say
was.
the visuals in general. The visuals in general, great.
And I like, especially after all that happened and all that red stuff came up, and just how it looked when Luke and Kylo were standing apart from each other. Just how those shots looked. Just so amazing. I was like, oh, that looks so cool. Just the battlefield, the way that especially with all that fire that Luke took, before he actually fought Kylo Ren, because that helped with, the battle-scarred area, but it just looked really cool.
I like the way that the fight scenes were filmed like widescreen, wide shot, so that you see everything and you can just kind of observe the entirety of the scene, and it's not a lot of close-ups and cuts. That felt more like an Asian martial arts movie, which are far superior to American fighting stuff. They're all up close and cuts and make it look cool instead of just like show it all and just kind of let the viewer observe everything.
Right. That was I'd say like the best.
I really like the hopelessness that you felt during the space scenes.
Yeah.
Like, how in the world are the Resistance supposed to fight this? How in the world are they going to get out of this situation? I really like that.
Yeah, like the whole situation had you at the edge of your seat, really.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I really liked Kylo Ren's fight scene. Rey's was okay, but there were still parts of it I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. Like there was one part where she got knocked over, and she goes to like keep the guy away from her, and I'm like, real
Yeah.
fighter doesn't do that.
Right.
He puts his sword up like this. We actually saw Jamie Lannister do to keep distance from Ned Stark in the fourth season. He just had his sword out, which has
Yeah.
been kind of made fun of when Sidious does it because he's like, yeah. But yeah, that's funny. But like that's what you would do if you want to keep distance, you know, not just swing
Doing that as
wildly.
an attack, not trying to like keep them from attacking him.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah, because when you hold it straight out, you know, they have that to worry about. And if you're just swinging, then they just have to wait for you to swing one way, and then there's an opening that they can attack.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you're holding it still, they're waiting for you to make a move so that they can have the opening.
Yeah. And I've been liking
Yeah, Kylo Ren is far superior to Rey.
Yes.
Force Awakens has to say about it.
Yeah. And I really like how I like the realism to the fight scenes, especially the Royal Guard fight scenes. Because it was, especially Kylo's stuff. I mean, Rey's stuff was good to a point, but like Kylo's stuff was like, he was fighting 4 guys, you know, and Rey was fighting like 4 or something like that. Like he was fighting, it was 1 against like 2 and then 3 and then blah blah blah, you know. And it just was, it was real. Like you felt like this is him fighting up to 3 or 4 guys, you know.
Yeah. I liked when Rey totally did pulled a General Grievous from Clone Wars, where she like lets go of the lightsaber and then like catches it.
Yeah, I know.
That was so General Grievous from Clone Wars. When he like throws it up and then he grabs it and slices. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. I think it would have looked better if Kylo Ren did it, but you know, I'm fine with Rey doing it.
I like it too when Kylo Ren like catches it and just like turns it on for a second, like.
Yeah. And then when he moves, then you see the hole that he made.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that scene. I like the final battle on the planet scene a lot up until the end.
Yeah.
I liked when Poe Dameron was like attacking the dreadnought, but only attacking the cannons instead of trying to break through the armor.
Yeah, that was cool. A lot of the stuff that there was a lot of stuff that I liked that was like tainted by things that I didn't like in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which I talked a lot about that stuff, but Kylo Ren is still like the best part for me. That's
definitely,
he's solid all the way through.
And Adam Driver.
Yeah, he's excellent.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed we didn't get to, because like in Force Awakens there was a minor focus on his lightsaber, and I kind of wanted that still. Not because they probably didn't focus on his lightsaber too much because we already saw it, but I still kind of wanted to see his lightsaber more. Because, I mean, it's just awesome the way it sounds and everything, that it's like almost like a broken crystal, you know, in the lightsaber.
Unstable. Yeah.
It's very cool. He has like one of the best lightsabers in it. And we only saw it like twice. And there was hardly any close-ups.
It's 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And one time, Rey was holding it.
Yeah. There was hardly any close-ups. Like I remember the first time he pulled it out in Force Awakens. It was like his first little. As soon as they were like, "Hey, the droid got away," and he turns it on. Like I'm pretty sure that's the first time you see it turned on, and it was a close-up. And then he just goes at it and just destroys everything in front of him. But you know.
Yeah, after that entire this entire video, thinking back on The Force Awakens, I'm pretty positive that I like Force Awakens better.
Yeah,
me too.
definitely enjoy it more. But like I said, this movie actually makes that one a worse movie.
That's true.
Because there's so much stuff that's like brought up and it makes you anticipate the next movie, that asks questions, and then it's just like, nope. And that's the thing too, is this movie doesn't really do anything to get you anticipated for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, honestly, the only reason I'm excited for the next one is Ryan Johnson's not doing it, and it's back to J. Abrams, honestly.
And Kylo Ren,
Like,
he's still
it.
going to be in it. I mean,
With a hope that the ending, the last movie will be the better one out of the three.
Yeah. And I want the Knights of Ren. If I don't get them, I'm going to be angry.
If we don't get them in 9, there needs to be a separate movie entirely on them.
Yeah, because I mean, okay, they show the like 1 second clip of the Knights of Ren in the trailer for The Force Awakens.
People freak out.
There. I can see that one's a Mandalorian. I see that there's like 30 bodies around them. I'm like, this is gonna be
analyze that part.
Yeah. I'm like, this movie's gonna be awesome. Okay, that trailer came out a year before the movie came out. Okay, so I've been anticipating the Knights of Ren since a year before The Force Awakens. Then The Force Awakens came out, and it was like, oh, we saw everything in the trailer. Well, The Last Jedi will probably have them then. Nope.
It's like, okay.
Not even mentioned.
Not seeing the Knights of Ren in The Force Awakens, I was okay with. Not seeing them in The Last Jedi, I am not okay with.
I'm not okay with it either.
Like, I honestly feel like it should have been Episode 8, Knights of Ren. That's what it should have been called.
Well,
and
like,
then
where the
Episode 9 could be The Last Jedi. But not in the same way that this one was done.
Yeah. Where the hopelessness was at in The Last Jedi, if the Knights of Ren were there, there'd be zero hope at all. Like, no more resistance, they're gone. But I kind of wish that hopelessness was there because of the Knights of Ren hunting them down or something, instead of the space stuff that doesn't make sense, you know?
Yeah.
I would have been way more into that.
Can you get some light on you, William? It's starting to get dark.
I'll try.
And then we'll talk about another character that I definitely want to touch on.
Captain Phasma.
Yes. Let's talk about Captain Phasma.
Good.
I was kind of disappointed we didn't get to see her face. I was kind of wanting to see her face.
I was kind of disappointed that she died in the first one and then came back and then died immediately after that.
Yeah.
No, and too, like, they were saying when they were asked about it, they were like, don't worry, she's got a lot more to do in this movie. We're like, okay, so we're gonna have her as a bigger character this time around. She's not just gonna be to sell a toy.
But no, she just did as much as the other guy did. That fought.
Slightly. Yeah, it was literally just
basically just like that fight scene, which was cool. I liked that fight scene. I liked seeing Captain Phasma fight. And in some ways, she did beat Finn.
Yeah. But I'm okay with them not showing her.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not
I am too. It's not a big thing for me, but it would have been cool. It would have been cool if like there was more damage on the helmet, like it was half of the helmet or something. But yeah, she was still kind of disappointing, almost as much as in Force Awakens. But at least she got a fight scene.
As much, just because we got to see her fight.
Yeah.
But still, it was really disappointing how she's only on screen for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Right. She probably has a deal with Disney where she like, okay, I'm gonna do a little bit, but I get like X amount of the toy profits. Like,
yeah. Sorry, it's just a connect. Okay, one more thing that I want to touch on before we end the video. When this Master Code Breaker was touched on, did anybody else think it was going to be Lando?
No.
You did not think that? You did not think it was going to be Lando?
No, I didn't even know Lando was a Master Code Breaker.
Well, I mean, whatever, but like, it's like, he could have done anything, with the time gap between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So I mean, he could have become a master code breaker, but I was just thinking that are they going to introduce Lando? Like, it was, I mean, when, of course, I've still only seen it once, but, like, at the moment, I was like, it was just kind of like a thought in the back of my head. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought that would actually been better, because the actual character that was the Master Code Breaker was literally just a plot point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, I mean, it would be, let's hope we can see Lando in episode 9.
Gonna be in Solo,
Yep.
That's cool.
which comes out in May, and we still don't have a trailer for.
Oh my goodness, dog!
Woo. Woo.
Dog interruption. Okay, so, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. In conclusion,
In conclusion, yes.
this is I'd say, at times, bad film. Mostly. Because, I mean, the bad definitely outweighs the good. And this is, I mean, we did touch upon a lot with what we liked and stuff, but this was mostly a negative review. So, but yeah. What would you guys give it? Starting with Nathaniel.
Overall, I mean, it's still an enjoyable film. But seeing as how there's just so many problems with it, I'm not sure if I can watch it and ignore all that. But so overall, I think I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
William?
I give it a 5 out of 10. I don't like it, and the more that I think about it, the more I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this is the thing with this movie, is it's entertaining, and that's about the most positive it can get.
Yeah, even that was like only so much though for me, because
Yeah.
like this is the first time that I have left the theater of a Star Wars movie feeling underwhelmed. You know,
Yeah.
usually even if the movie's not great, like I feel hyped from going to a Star Wars movie, and
Yeah.
that was not present here at all. It was just underwhelming, which is the same way the trailer was. The trailer was just underwhelming.
Yeah, no. The trailer didn't hold as much hype as Force Awakens. Not
Trailer
just
warned
because,
movie.
yeah, not just because like Force Awakens was the new Star Wars movie, but I mean it was like just the trailer itself was awesome. Gave off hype. But yeah, I'd have to give it a 5.5. I'm gonna be in between. Then you gave it a 6. You gave it a 5. I'll give it a 5.5. So yeah, but hopefully some people watched the whole video and didn't get angry with us and clicked away.
Half of them will.
Half of them. Anyway.
Although on Rotten Tomato it was leaning in the negative now. It was down to 49%. Where before it was a little bit above 50%, so it's like
Wow.
it's gradually kept going down. So now it's more people don't like it than do like it.
Yeah, probably because people
Just barely, but
having, chances to see it again.
I think a lot of people who don't like it complain about the wrong things about the movie.
yeah, there's a lot of that, and but I've also seen a lot of people complain about legit things, but it seems to me like everyone who does like it and defends it only sees the ridiculous complaints, and they're not acknowledging or just not seeing the actual complaints about the movie that are legit. Because I don't see those people addressing that stuff at all. They only address like ridiculous stuff and like, well, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, honestly, I think. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and really close the ranting portion of this before we close off the video with this. I think the biggest problem with this movie was the fact that you have a different director, a different viewpoint on a trilogy. And, I mean, we touched on it, but I just kind of want to close on it so that we can kind of be reminded of it, you know, because I really think that was the downfall of this film.
Yeah, they didn't have an outline of where they wanted to go. They just like gave it to their.
J.J. Abrams didn't have answers to the questions he brought up.